Hello everybody, my name is Alberto and I'm currently developing a turn-based strategy game using the Unity engine. In today's devlog, I wanted to show you a couple of visual effects based on shaders that we've added to the game and take a look to how do we actually render this whole hex grid in the scene. So as you can see now the trees has some kind of a wind effect. We have this bending that depends on the height. So on the top part of the tree this is stronger and then we can create this feeling of wind. On the other hand, we have the same effect, but it is not based on height, but just only happening on the flag side. So we can have this flag having this kind of swinging effect, and we are actually giving a sinusoidal function there to make this ondulation happen. The final effect is on the water. As you can see here, now we have some kind of reflections on the surface, and this just gives a much nicer feeling of water. Then I wanted to also point out these hexagons that are highlighted when I'm moving the mouse over the hex, or when I select units over here. For example, we have also a tiny hexagon which points which unit is selected. So how do we actually render all these things on the scene? Let's just take a quick look to the code. We have a class called hex grid rendering system. Over here, we have two methods which are of relevance for us right now. We have a method for building the mesh hex. Over here, we just combine all meshes that are static, and we create a single mesh, which is going to draw most of the hexagons we see in the screens. All of those that are static, that nothing happens to them. Then we have mesh details. These mesh details are supposed to cover any kind of detail that we want in the scene, and it must have some kind of effect. For example, we have the flags that will bend and will also change color when we conquer them. And we also have these trees, which are details which bend with the wind effect. And we have the water, which actually are also have to be separated from the main mesh because they need to we need to apply a different shader for the material we're using so we can have this effect. Now over here it's just very simple. We just loop over all the hexagons, we check if they are static or not, and then here down we create static mesh details by combining the meshes similar than above, and afterwards we will start the animation which we get from the data of this detail. And in the case of the other ones are instance mesh details. It means that they are drawn with an instance draw call because we need to change the properties per instance in that case. So let's just quickly take a look to how do we actually render. So this is what is actually happening currently in our game. We first draw the hex mesh, which is the main, most of the hexes that you see over there. Afterwards, we're going to draw the static details. In this case, there is only one, which is the water. So it's going to draw all the water hexes that we see on the screen. Over here, we say if we have any hex grid last index, this last index, it tells you how many hexes we want to draw on the screen. And this, if you saw before, if I'm with the mouse on top of a hex, then there will be one. There will be one to draw over here. In case of the units, it's the same. Do we have any to draw? Then we will draw it. Otherwise, we won't. And this is how we draw these things on the screen. Now, actually, it's not one. It's just basically if you have more than 0, if you have any, because we do in a single draw call, we draw all these hexes that we see on the screen. And the final part is for drawing the instance details, those ones that are not static. So there must be, yeah, by now I think we have kind of 6 draw calls, and then we can draw all what you see on the screen. So if we look here, we draw all these things with these 6 draw calls. And as I said before, so now all these green hexagons that you see here are drawn, and these red ones plus the one I'm here is drawn in one single draw call. So basically we can try to keep we want to keep the frame per seconds as high as possible, and in this way we can control as much as possible how we draw the things on the screen, and then we can see now how many visual effects and things we can add to make it much more enjoyable for the players without getting to a low FPS in our game, which mess up with the experience. So that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any question, please just leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.